You're listening to the Sticks in the Six podcast. Here are your co-hosts, Andrew Forbes, Peter Barricini, and Alex Hobson.
Let's get into our Maple Leafs talk. I want to kick it off with the game against Buffalo. And I only want to do that because I wrote the takeaways piece for this, and I got a comment on the article about I wrote
your Tannerism.
Yeah, my Tanner. No, I wrote that Justin Holl had a very poor performance. That was one of my takeaways, that he just, this guy's getting inserted back into the lineup, and for me, he just didn't get the job done. I felt like Muzzin looked weak again as his partner. I felt that Holl just seemed scattered, especially on those two goals in the third period that were kind of back to back for Buffalo, that tied it up. He looked lost out there. And I got a comment back being like, why can't you just take the win for Joseph Woll and forget kind of the negatives? And my response is, this is a team that's exited in the first round in like how many consecutive seasons. The only way to get better is to realize their faults. And one of their faults is playing Justin Holl. So Peter, I want to throw it to you first. Your thoughts on Justin Holl coming back into the lineup, but also his play against Buffalo.
Ever since he came back into the lineup when they ever since the game with the Philadelphia Flyers, right off the bat, he was struggling. Like, he had a poor clearing attempt, and already 12, 15, 20 seconds in, he's already got a shot against, and it led to a high danger scoring chance because of the turnover. Against the Calgary Flames, same scenario. It looked like he was getting beat a lot based on the speed of the Flames, and just didn't seem right. Same thing happened with the Buffalo Sabres. And I mentioned, and I tweeted this out too, you want Justin Holl to succeed no matter what. Like, you want the best for him. It's just very difficult considering the fact that how did he have such a strong start to 2020, 21, and then halfway through just start to falter. And it's been the same thing over and over again with this play. Poor decisions with the puck, pinching up when he shouldn't supposed to, leaving his defensive partner, getting caught in an odd man rush going the other way. I mean, I tweeted this out too. I mean, I was going to get to it before I got sidetracked. I've never seen someone make the simplest plays look so difficult more than Justin Holl. And I mean, with the clearing attempts, with the amount of time that he has, he always panics with the puck. And, for a guy that the Maple Leafs had faith in to protect him, $2 million, I mean, great value for a contract, but the play is just not there. I mean, if he was producing around maybe the same clip as Jake Muzzin and probably having the same performance as him, granted, he's had his ups and downs as well, but when Jake Muzzin is on his game, he's on his game. When Justin Holl, I mean, when he's supposed to be at his best, he's still not at his best. And that is concerning. And that's where maybe the Maple Leafs need to address. I mean, there was that whole rumor last week from both Chris Johnson and Elliot Friedman, where there's been rumblings that the Maple Leafs are fielding offers on a defenseman. And who are you going to look at right now? You're not looking at Brody or Riley. You just signed Riley long-term. Jake Buzz is going to be a staple. Sandin and Liljegren are great. Who are the ones that are going to be the odd man out? Durbin and Hall. And, granted that he's making $2 million, I mean, even right now, he's not even living up to $2 million. He's not even living up to that contract. So it's like, what do you do from here? How can you help him out? I mean, it's difficult because you would think that the 5-game absence, or how many games he's missed during that time, would probably be a wake-up call. And it's still the same things over and over again with him. And it's deeply concerning.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, 10 games he's played this season. He's got a -6 rating and only 6 shots on net, 29 years old. This is a guy, obviously against Buffalo, they talked about how Rasmus Sandin was resting some bumps and bruises. And so Justin Holl is going to be the guy that slots in that situation. But with Rasmus Sandin potentially healthy going into this week, is Holl the odd man out again? Like, is he the guy that kind of is going to be floating in and out? And if so, at what point do you just say, there might be better options for a guy that's going to be floating in and out of the lineup?
First of all, thanks for clearing up that it was because Sandin was injured, because until now I had no idea why they were sitting Rasmus Sandin for Travis Dermott in that game.
There was a lot of confusion heading into that, and then a lot of people were concerned, be like, whoa, why are you doing this to Sandin when he's been so great? So yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly the Leafs just got to be focused on icing the best possible lineup and icing the guys who will help them get wins and do the best job of it. And right now, you're not sitting anybody not named Justin Holl or Travis Dermott if you're doing that. I think Dermott's been better than Holl this year, but I think those are the only two guys in this situation where you can really get away with sitting one of them, because as far as I'm concerned, Timothy Liljegren's played himself onto the team. I don't see any reason why he should be sitting now. He hasn't really had a bad game so far. Like, he's had his issues here and there, and makes mistakes just like any rookie defenseman would, but he overall has played better and outperformed Justin Holl and Travis Dermott this year. So I think if anything, until one of them gets traded, you got to keep playing Liljegren in his role and shuffling Dermott and Holl in and out. And I think Dermott would get the edge in terms of playing time just because he's been better than Holl this year. But yeah, at this point, it should really just be down to those two guys, because you got to be icing the best possible lineup, like you said. And fact of the matter is, having Justin Holl and Travis Dermott in there at the same time, I wouldn't say that's the best possible lineup at this point, because Liljegren wouldn't be in there or Sandin wouldn't be in there, one of those guys. And obviously the other three aren't getting benched anytime soon. So, yeah, I mean, I think the bumps and bruises for Rasmus Sandin are reasons why it's good that we still have Justin Holl on the team and we still have Rasmus Sandin, because, guys will get hurt sometimes. They'll get tripped up and they'll have bumps and bruises, just like you're saying. And you got to have a guy that's ready to step in. And while Holl, it's good to have him there, you're right. He hasn't looked great lately. And, I think obviously his play this year can somewhat be attributed to, I remember hearing that he had a sickness this summer or something and he lost a ton of weight. And, should that be the case, it's obviously unfortunate. You wouldn't wish that on anybody. And it is tough to see his play regress to that point. But in the end, like I've said a million times already, you got to put the best possible team out there. The Leafs aren't really in a position where they got to be, banking on Travis Dermott or Justin Holl to find their games just because, for example, Holl's making $2 million. You just got to get the best lineup out there. And I think Justin Holl is probably the seventh defenseman out of those seven right now. And if you got to get him in there, take Travis Dermott out, but nobody else.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think at this point it's come down to a spot where Justin Holl's got to earn his spot in the lineup again. I mean, you're talking about a guy who over 146 games played for the Leafs. He's got 41 points, so he's clearly not a guy that they rely upon for offense. So if that's the case, like, he's got to be one of the best guys in the defensive end, and quite frankly, he hasn't been that. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw him on that fourth Buffalo goal where he kind of tried to play the puck in behind the net and misplayed the puck, gave it away. The puck went back to Rasmus Dahlin, and when it did, he kind of just floated out in front, and the puck grazed him and went past Joseph Woll. And to me, that just shows not so much a lack of caring, but a lack of commitment to the play. And if you're a guy who's only putting up, 40 some odd points in 150 career games, you're a guy that, should be focusing on your defensive game. And to me, it's just not there. He's a liability in his own end. And I mean, you mentioned it, Peter, he's kind of a liability in the offensive end in the way that he tries to pinch on some plays where maybe he shouldn't be pinching. So I agree with you, Alex. I think he's the seventh defenseman, and as soon as Rasmus Sandin's healthy, you got to get him back in and get Holl out. I find that he's been, I mean, he almost makes me nervous to watch Leaf games because he just makes some really silly plays. But